All right, so I got another couple emails sent in to me, and I missed the first one, and then I just caught the second one and referred to a previous one. So I found it and I put them together here in the notes on my phone, and I'm going to let it rip. Now, before I do this, I want you to all take note before you send something into me. Is if you are having some experiences with some beings, I don't know what flavor they'll be, because believe me, there's more than one out there, and that is fact. Some of these beings are more focused on remaining neutral, possibly even helpful to you at times, oddly, in rural places. But there's some pretty nasty shit going on in some other places, and it's kind of alarming. It's nothing to be envied. But what I'm getting at is when you are sharing your emails with me, and you've basically had enough, like I have and many other people. Well, one of the things you need to understand is we are being monitored. Every single word I say online is being monitored, as well as numerous people that I'm associated with. That's all there is to it. And as an example, I was just shared an excerpt from an email from a man. Remember the guy, the outfitter, who contacted me looking for help, and he had these things on his property? Well, currently he has had numerous trespassers, his gates torn down. He has had low-flying helicopters over his property. The disgusting BFRO attempted to make contact with him in the past, and he's actually had a standoff, a gun standoff with some other individuals on his property, and the list goes on. All right, and that is definitely 100% due to him coming forward publicly through me and a couple other channels on the internet. So it's something for you to think of. All right. So if you have private property and you don't need a bunch of whoever strangers, whoever they are, attempting to enter your property and wreak havoc on your private property, then you might want to bite your lip when it comes to sharing locations. All right. And as far as I go, I'm not about sharing locations. I'm not about finding out where. I'm not. It's not that. It's not a concern of mine. My number one concern is support for the people who are having these experiences. Okay, that's my number one concern. Number two is to point out the fraudulent people who keep this going in circles and will not share the true facts with the public. Those are my main two concerns. So, if you're having a unfortunate experiences such as this one here, it's either I would suggest you try to, I don't know, it's almost like talking to bad neighbors. You try to get along, try to coexist, or if not, you come forward online, and I'll guarantee you are going to have strangers come into your property. That's all there is to it. They're monitoring us. They're monitoring us, and they're going to do it. Okay? Now, getting back to the first email, here's the first one. I found it, and here it goes. Are you ready? Hello, Steve. I'll try to keep this story as short as I can. I grew up in Alabama on a family of 64 acres of land. It's been in our family for 3 generations. We are outdoors people that have always hunted our land for food on the table. It's how we live. My grandfather always told us to stay out of the hollow past the rock quarry. Don't hunt there or you will die. The hairy man won't come out of there unless you F up and go in there. My grandpa never BS'd anyone any time. I'm 59. I spend most days in the woods. It's part of me. I've seen these beings through my scope and even up close one evening. I was on top of the mountain one evening before it started to get dark. I saw the hairy man walking into their cave with a large buck on his shoulder. 2 grown men would have trouble carrying this huge Alabama buck. The giant had no problem with it at all. The daddy of this family is over 7 feet tall and weighs over 400 pounds. It seems like a shit story, but on my kid's life it's true. My daddy told me to never go there, and I've told my sons not to go there. It's the only way for us to stay alive on our land. They've got about 10 acres and we've got the rest. My grandpa told me they were there long before he was born. These effers are not apes. They are people that have been in hiding for hundreds of years. Only one of us have gone in there. It was my grandpa's brother. He was ripped to pieces and left in a tree for them to find. My grandpa told me about it when I was a kid. It's not just a BS story to scare the kids. It's a true story that we take very serious. I've got grandkids who watch your channel. They ask that we don't use my full name. Their friends wouldn't believe it, and kids are cool to each other. So thank you for listening to my story, my friend. I will send you another one soon that happened to my 2 brothers. Keep up the good work and tell our stories. More people need to know what's going on. Thanks again, M.R. All right, so that was the first email. And you can obviously the man's concerned. He's got some stuff going on in the private acreage, and it's obviously very concerning. Now, here's the second email he sent to me. Hello, Steve. I must say what an absolute epping badass you are, just for putting yourself out there. We all know the so-called authorities will ruin your life just for saying they are real. I've been told by the area sheriff that if I don't shut my effing mouth about the hairy people, then he won't get the funding we need to develop the woodland of Calhoun County. I've been threatened by law enforcement and political leaders in our area. We own a small plot of land at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We've got over 60 acres. It's been in my family for generations. I told you about my great-uncle getting torn from asshole to elbow by the hairy man family. It happened a long time ago, but the story is told my family every year. Now I have a story to tell you about my brother and his friend that happened just 3 years ago. My brother didn't believe me about not crossing into the hairy people's valley. He's an ex-military self-proclaimed badass. They decided to hunt and camp right on the line where we don't cross. We don't and they don't. Anyway, they camped too close to these monsters. Well, they found out the hard way that these MFers mean business. They woke up at 3 in the morning hearing their 2 large pit bull dogs being ripped into pieces. They came home crying and bitching for all of us to go with them and wipe out the whole family of these hairy beings. I explained to him that we've seen at least 30 of these bastards going into the caves they live in. I know if we start a war with these people, we will lose. They can hide in these miles of caves. Then come out and kill them whoever they want, when they want. And will receive no help from the government or the cops. It's an unwritten law for some reason. I don't know why, but I know it's true. Please share my story, Steve. People need to know that we are not only fighting these monsters, but for some reason, we're fighting the very people that are supposed to be keeping us safe. I'm sure I'll be catching hell from our local law enforcement, but I'm beyond giving a damn. Use my name, use my brother's name. I'm Michael Rogers, and my brother's name is Tony Rogers. F them and the bullshit they have put on us. I'm ready to speak up and start talking about these dangerous, hairy people. Thanks, Steve. Never give up. You are the badass. We needed to start this talking about this out in the open. Okay, Michael, I'm sharing it. And you know what? This is just me recording this right now and talking to camera. When I go down to edit, I'm going to seriously think about posting the location as of yet. I will leave the names. I'll leave the sheriff's name, your name's in here. I'll see if I can edit out to keep the exact location away just for the peace of your property. The peace and well-being of your family, more so from the absolute idiots and sleazebag strangers that will be coming and looking. All right, whether it be those low-flying helicopters, whoever it is, the people that are monitoring my channel and many others, monitoring the truth being shared amongst us, they are the ones that are going to go snooping around. All right, and that's a fact. So, if you know, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, Michael, or anybody else, but if you have strangers coming on your land and threatening you, you fight back. You fight back at all costs and use the absolute power it takes to keep you and yours safe from those strangers. And just don't think that's some kind of extremist attitude. That is what we all have to do. You got to fight back against the bad people at all costs, and you have to win. And that's how we ensure their lives for our children are going to be more pleasant than potentially some are having today, right? Now, as far as these things being aggressive, for the most part, on the average, most of these beings aren't aggressive. They're very intimidating looking. But the fact is, there's a lot more going on than just these things, okay? There's far more going on. And to give you an idea why I do get frustrated myself with a lot of these so-called big names that get the spotlight, it's because they know. 100% of them know what's going on out there, and they know a lot more is going on than they reveal publicly. And why do they not reveal it publicly? Is because it's almost like they put a cap on it. Because if they admit to the honest truth that's going on, that'll annihilate the system they have going for revenue, for income. And that's a fact. Have some of them been silenced by the so-called men in black, the authorities? There's probably a very high chance they have. But at any rate, they willingly keep you guys misinformed. They willingly keep you going in circles, and that's what every single one of them is doing. As a side note, not one of them has ever private messaged me to ask me what the hell am I doing, or why am I sharing this, or why am I saying that. Not one of them. Okay? Now think about that one for a few minutes. But anyway, I don't have time to go out and put an epic backdrop in a video, so I'm going to I'll just have some excellent B-roll up here ahead of these videos, ahead of the story, these emails, so that you can enjoy a little bit of visual while I read these tales. And take from it what you will. Hopefully it helps you. And if you are hesitant about coming forward and speaking up, well, we'll quit being hesitant and just go ahead and do it. Don't hesitate to share your truth. Don't hesitate for a second to share your truth with all of us. There's too many of us now, and we all got your back, and we're going to support your ass. All right, now let's get the truth out there.